Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, Nature. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I've got some goodies from a company called Bars in Poland. They sent me some stuff to check out. I've got a Bars FS3 MIDI foot switch, as well as the EX3 MIDI expression pedal. So full disclosure, Bars sent these for me to take a look at. However, as always, my thoughts are my own. I don't need to get these videos approved at all. These are purely what I think of these products. I've been using them for a little while, and I've got to say I'm pretty impressed so far. So let's just discuss what they're for, who they're for, what you're going to be using them for. So the two of them, I'll show you up close here. Let's take a look. That is the foot switch. And this one is the expression pedal. Now, one thing you got to note on these, which I haven't seen anybody else do, one thing that makes these unique, in case you didn't realize, we have the MIDI DIM switch at the back here, as well as a USB output. So there's no traditional quarter-inch jack for these. So what this means is that it makes them extremely versatile for a number of different applications. For one, you don't have to have a controller keyboard with an expression input. Number two, you don't need to be sending an expression output from this expression pedal. You could essentially be programming this to do whatever you want it to. There is an app for programming these, which we're going to take a look at in just a sec. But yeah, so you basically just connect this up to MIDI, and you have a little switch on the side here. So you can output via the MIDI DIM or via the USB MIDI output. Same goes for this one. You can again switch between MIDI output and the USB MIDI output. This one has two LEDs on the switch. You can see the switches there, two little red LEDs that come on when that is plugged in. This is pretty cool as well. You can use these as a toggle or a trigger. So this actually works pretty well as sort of a guitar controller for guitar rig or whatever to turn on or off distortion or amplifiers, much like you would with the normal guitar pedal. But also if you are incorporating it into something like a live looping setup, pretty cool, because you can assign start-stop commands to this. It even does program changes, so you can technically actually plug this in. Once it's programmed, I could chuck that into the JP8000 behind me there and actually switch through the programs on the keyboard using the foot switch as well. The other thing that I have to talk about is how solid these pedals are. I'm guessing they're built from a sort of powder-coated aluminium, because they are super lightweight, and at the same time it's fairly thick, these chassis, so they really do feel solid. I mean, you could do damage with one of these pedals. So let's plug these in and I'll show you what we can do with these. So, got a MIDI connection here. We're just going to connect to MIDI, and let's leave that on the USB output. We'll bring up the programming app. Right, so here we go. This is the app. Now, full disclosure, I have had some issues under Windows getting these to show up at times for some reason. I'm not sure if it's pertaining to my system, but once it's in, it's in. And one other gripe that I have here with this programming setup, not a huge issue, because technically speaking you only need to set these up once and then you're done. But for some reason you cannot plug in both the pedal and the trigger at the same time and set them up simultaneously in the editor. You have to program one, disconnect it, plug in the other one, and then program that, and then reconnect both of them once they're programmed. So anyways, let's just take a look at the editor here. I'll show you what you can do. So you have programs for button 1 and button 2 right here, and as you can see you've got a number of different options. You've got notes on, notes off, system real time. So you can use this for tap tempo, start stop, continue stop. So obviously you could start and stop your DAW with this, or recording or whatever if you want. That is a momentary toggle currently. You can toggle that on and off as well. So if you were using this for guitar rig or something like that, you'd use a control change as a toggle and use that to switch on a distortion pedal on and off. So you got on and off value, impulse toggle controller, up and down controller, a number of different options, the MIDI values for those as well, and then the controller number. Let's just take a look at the notes on as well. You can select your note 1 and 2. So, I mean, if you wanted to use these for key switches, technically you could do that as well, using note inputs. If you have a contact library, you want to switch between one articulation and another, technically you can do that as well. The toggle mode defaults to impulse for these signals. We'll see there. So the light just flashes on and off. It's not toggling like the other one here is set to toggle mode. So it goes on and remains on. But yeah, so there's all the options that you can do with this. So like I said, pretty versatile. I don't know of a lot of foot switches that work in this manner, that you can just program like this. It's completely independent MIDI channel, this as well. You'll see in Cubase it comes up as the Beat Bars pedal. So you can assign this to control one instrument whilst still controlling other stuff with another controller, and they don't have to be linked to the same channel. Right, let's check out the pedal as well. We can take a look here. We've got our MIDI channel. You can decide what that was to be on. The MIDI channel 1 we'll go with. We want a control change. We can set this up to pitch bend, channel pressure, aftertouch, polyphonic key pressure even. We're going to set this to control change, and control change 1 will be your modulation wheel, obviously. I think 11 is typically your expression controller. So this one, for example, if you were using it with a orchestral library, this may be a good option to have that additional volume control. You can calibrate this as well, so you're just going to move the pedal forward and backwards. There, the calibration's finished. And once you set up, we'll go with just a sort of random control. Let's go with control number 15. It's not assigned to anything. We'll just set that. And it's going to be pre-programmed now. And at this point, we just want to make sure that we are set to the MIDI output on this. So let's bring up a synth. So let's just bring up a sound in Repro. And just to show you how this works, once you're on MIDI learn, we can hit the cutoff, and let's just smash the pedal. And there you go. I've got control coming now from the pedal. Notice that I've got all MIDI inputs set up over here. You actually have the Beat Bars controller. You can set that up to control a specific channel if you want. If I wanted to, say for instance, have this controlling volume of another backing channel that's playing, for instance, I could totally do that and still be using this controller here to control Repro in front of me. So let's just take a listen now while we're busy playing. So let's get there's my sustain pedal on, no hands, and I can still adjust the sound with my Beat Bars expression pedal. The mid-range of the control takes a little bit of practice to get that smooth through that middle section, but the motion of the controller is actually pretty good and feels smooth. And once you kind of get used to how sensitive the control is in that middle section, once you get used to that, it works really, really well. You'll see sort of it's easy to kind of control around the bottom there, and near the top a little bit. There's kind of like this middle section where it becomes quite sensitive, but that's just because you're pivoting on a pivot point. Once you kind of get used to that, it's actually pretty expressive and pretty cool to play with. So yeah, that is the MIDI foot switch and the expression pedal from Beat Bars. Go check them out. I'll keep a link in the comments below. All in all, really well built little units these, and decently priced as well. So if you're looking for something along the lines of a pedal like this, definitely check these guys out. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are enjoying the content on the channel, please hit the like and subscribe. Also hit the notifications bell, of course, if you want to see more videos along these lines. I will catch you guys soon. Till then, stay safe, take care, cheers.